Welcome to the Topless channel. Today, we're diving into the realm of disappointment as we explore the 20 worst open-world games. While open-world games can offer thrilling experiences, encountering colossal letdowns like these only reinforces skepticism. Have you encountered an open-world game that shattered your expectations? Share your thoughts in the comments below and see if it matches our list. While some argue that this movie-licensed game has redeeming qualities, its abysmal controls and demanding gameplay detract from any potential enjoyment. Superman's controls are as poor as in his infamous Nintendo 64 game, and defending Metropolis feels as challenging as babysitting a screaming child. With the city constantly under threat, players spend much of their time averting crises. Unless you enjoy overseeing a perpetually helpless society, Superman Returns is best avoided. We're familiar with how Koei Tecmo's Warriors games operate, navigating expansive maps with a handful of characters to lead armies and combat hordes of enemies. So, one might expect Dynasty Warriors 9 to be vast in scale, right? Well, it's certainly expanded, but not to the extent it should have. Transitioning from large maps to an open world felt unnecessary, especially considering the barrenness of the world. The uninspired missions, all feeling identical, coupled with frustratingly incompetent AI, made the game a tedious experience. The sole reason to consider Spider-Man 3 video game adaptation is for its comically memorable I don't want to die quick-time failure. Enduring the game itself borders on torment. While the cutscenes and character models are laughably subpar, enduring clunky web swinging and poor optimization is another story. With Beanox, Vicarious Visions, and Treyarch involved, one would expect someone to notice the issues, but apparently not. The lack of dignity is glaringly evident from the foolish title alone. While the first two Driver games were commendable on the PS1, Driver 3 faltered due to its controls and AI. Players grappled with absurd difficulty levels while piloting vehicles that handled as smoothly as grease on oil. Regardless of the controversy surrounding its launch, Driver 3 failed to justify its price tag. If your idea of fun involves targeting the most brainless militia ever, then Breakpoint might suffice. However, if you crave an open-world FPS experience that challenges your skills and transports you to exotic locales, better options abound. Breakpoint proves to be a colossal waste of time, leading players through disjointed locations with no coherent purpose. Engaging in a mindless cycle of eliminating soldiers, scavenging for gear, and repeating the process, Ubisoft shamelessly supported this lackluster endeavor for nearly 3 years before abandoning it altogether.
Make every bullet count!
While the original Homefront offered a compelling alternate history experience with Korea's invasion of the United States, its sequel lacked such redeeming qualities. Despite an intriguing premise, the game's flaws were glaring. Incompetent AI resulted in enemies and NPCs mindlessly colliding with walls, while poor frame rate made certain sections unpleasant to navigate. Additionally, the gunplay felt clumsy and imprecise. Ultimately, there was little incentive to play the sequel, neither at launch nor after subsequent patches. While some may blame Big Willie Unleashed for the decline of Destroy All Humans, the true culprit lies with Path of the Furon. The game failed to live up to the standards set by its predecessors, offering mundane missions, repetitive NPC dialogue, and an alarming number of glitches that often required reloading. Disheartened loyalists swiftly turned their backs on the Furon Empire following this disappointment. Fortunately, the franchise's future looks promising with the release of 2 stellar remakes. Exiles veers away from its barbarian roots, instead catering to hardcore survival game enthusiasts. While the shift in genre could be forgiven, the clunky combat mechanics prove frustrating. Despite aspirations of becoming mighty warriors, wielding weapons lacks satisfaction. Moreover, the barren world suggests that Conan Exiles was far from completion upon launch. With backing from Tencent, perhaps Funcom will consider a sequel in the future. Who would have anticipated an open-world game based on the Big Bobby car toy line, let alone a compelling one? While younger players might overlook its lack of vitality, for us, it proved to be a dull experience. Despite its focus on the big race, the game offers minimal racing content, with the majority of gameplay dedicated to collecting scattered items in a lifeless world devoid of NPCs aside from the peculiar Bobby cars. Charging $30 for an empty driving game consisting mainly of collectible hunting and minimal storytelling and racing elements seems unjustified. Metal Gear appeared destined for a future dominated by remasters and ports, but a dark cloud loomed momentarily. Konami, having lost the MGS mastermind post-Phantom Pain, attempted to steer the franchise toward co-op zombie survival. Metal Gear Survive proved uninspired, devoid of personality, and outright boring. However, if one aspect encapsulates its abysmal nature, it's the introduction of monetized save files. The original Dead Island fell short of expectations despite a promising trailer, leading to disappointment in the gaming community. Its sequel, Dead Island Riptide, offered little improvement beyond a minor visual upgrade, recycling much of the first game's content. While not as egregious as Escape Dead Island, it failed to innovate, leaving much to be desired in the open-world genre. WB Montreal's Gotham Knights fails to learn from the refined Batman Arkham series by Rocksteady. A good superhero game requires solid combat, storytelling, and a balanced mix of crime investigation, stealth, and combat. Unfortunately, Gotham Knights misses the mark entirely, resembling Destiny 2 more than a traditional superhero game. The game focuses on looter-shooter mechanics with excessive currencies, lacks engaging combat, and features cringeworthy dialogue. The heroes appear clueless and lack skills, making the game feel more like cosplayers attempting crime fighting rather than a true open-world superhero experience. The Warzy epitomized the early days of Steam, marked by rampant plagiarism and buggy, unplayable games. Essentially a copycat of the popular DayZ, it garnered backlash for being even more flawed. Moreover, the game's executive producer faced criticism for using homophobic slurs, attempting to divert customers from Steam, and disregarding complaints. Infestation, as it was later renamed, finally went offline in 2016, marking the end of its troubled existence.
What is this place? It's like the weirdest dream.
You're not supposed to be here.
Redfall garnered attention primarily due to Arcane's reputable track record with titles like the Dishonored series and Prey. However, despite the studio's pedigree, the game failed to meet expectations. Featuring a world inhabited by glitching vampires and lacking depth, many questioned its release readiness. This disappointment added to frustrations among Xbox customers due to the platform's scarcity of first-party releases. As a highly anticipated title showcased at E3 2021 and delayed to ensure quality, its shortcomings were particularly glaring. The underwhelming reception of Redfall heightened anticipation and pressure for upcoming releases like Starfield.
Get used to this.
Among the multitude of Spider-Man games, there's a sea of mediocrity with only a few gems. While Spider-Man 3 is universally acknowledged as a misstep, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 sinks even lower. It shares familiar flaws such as poor voice acting, lackluster character models, and clunky web-swinging controls. However, its most egregious offense lies in its abysmal optimization. The game's performance resembles a goblin glider caught in a hurricane, plagued by inconsistent frame rates, stuttering, and an abundance of bugs and glitches across all versions. Regardless of the platform, it's a subpar experience through and through. Introducing the most unsettling anime girls imaginable, combined with a poorly designed island scattered with lackluster gold stars to collect, gunplay devoid of any distinguishing mechanics or impact, and a soundtrack akin to nails on a chalkboard overshadowing Beethoven's Fifth. This purported open-world adventure teeters on the edge of shovelware, but somehow gained notoriety thanks to its scantily clad waifus, each appearing more lifeless than the last. Spare yourself the hassle and invest your $5 elsewhere. An open-world game revolving around vehicular combat seems like an exciting premise, but Road Rage fails to deliver on that potential. The game lacks vitality in every aspect, from level design to combat mechanics and controls. While vehicular combat games have their place in modern gaming, Road Rage fails to capture the imagination or convince players of its vision. It's a disappointment that even a flaming clown head couldn't remedy.
Right away, sir.
Raven's Cry fails as a pirate-themed open-world game, falling short in numerous aspects like world design, technical issues, and incomplete features. However, its most significant flaw lies in its tasteless writing, which perpetuates harmful stereotypes without offering meaningful commentary. Even after a relaunch as Vendetta: Curse of the Raven's Cry, the game remains deeply flawed and unsatisfactory.
60 stories up, incoming! You gotta build up that raw power!
Xbox and Sumo Digital's highly anticipated Crackdown 3 failed to live up to expectations, despite its promise as a revival of a dormant franchise featuring Terry Crews in a leading role. The game suffered from numerous delays, and upon release, it proved to be a disappointment. Crackdown 3 struggled with handling physics, destructible environments, and explosions, while Terry Crews' involvement was limited to the opening moments of the game before his character was swiftly killed off. The game's failure to learn from past open-world innovations and mistakes contributed to its lackluster reception. Day 1 Garry's incident was widely condemned on Steam due to numerous technical issues, including inconsistent frame rates, pop-ins, and mission failures due to save state errors. Developer Wild Games Studios faced backlash after issuing copyright claims against negative reviews, leading to criticism from YouTubers and the removal of their games from Steam. The studio's disappearance and the closure of their website further compounded the controversy surrounding the game. Thanks for watching our rundown of the worst open-world video games of all time. From technical nightmares to uninspired gameplay, these titles have earned their place at the bottom of the barrel. If you've had the misfortune of playing any of these games, or if you think we missed one that deserves a spot on the list, let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, happy gaming!